I'm Richard.
And I'm Will.
And together we're
The Irreverent Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
Nerds. I have some exciting news to share. We are now offering a monthly subscription service for our listeners. For the low price of $2.99 per month, subscribers will gain access to 2 bonus episodes and an invitation to a Zoom gathering. Additionally, subscribers who sign up for our email list are eligible to be entered into a monthly prize drawing. So what are you waiting for? Click on the link in the episode description today to get started. Nerds. Nerdly people, nerdly men, nerdly women, nerdly persons. He, she, theys, and thems, and assorted other pronouns. Welcome to the Irreverent Nerds podcast. I'm here with my esteemed co-host, Guillermo Tomas Boyer.
And he's here with me, too.
That's good. You didn't leave yourself behind when you came over.
Who?
You just said Guillermo was here with you, so you didn't leave Guillermo behind when you came over.
I take Guillermo everywhere.
There's a little Hispanic man inside of Will. He takes him with him everywhere he goes.
He holds my stuff for me.
Behold, my name is Puss, and I wear boots. Yes, I do. Where is Shrek? We haven't done Shrek yet.
Does that fit into one of our categories?
I suppose the closest would be animation.
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 American animation is just Western anime, right?
Do you want some waffles? That was a very bad Eddie Murphy. I'm better at Antonio Banderas than Eddie Murphy, I must say.
Oh, was that Antonio Banderas?
Oh yeah, man, he does Puss in Boots. Wow. You did not know this.
Wasn't he the guy from Princess Bride?
No.
I am
no,
confused.
that was Manny Patinkin.
Okay.
A Jewish man who was, for some reason, playing an Hispanic man.
Oh.
I guess he looked Hispanic enough. Kind of like the main...
But you killed his father for to die. Huh?
I cannot think of her name right now, but the woman from Aliens, she's very buff, and she's one of the soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
Not Montoya. No, that's Batman. Vasquez. I think it's Vasquez. But she was a Jewish woman. The actress was a Jewish woman, but she played a Hispanic woman in a movie. Because if you look close enough, like Oscar Isaac, he once played Joseph of Arimathea, Joseph, the husband of Mary, and yet he is Hispanic himself, from South America, I think, or his parents. Anyway,
we got on to talk about Star Wars Visions, but it is already escalated, spiraling downward.
Spiraling. Yes.
Spiraling. I can tell this is going to be one of those podcasts.
Well, we got to do something weird for the opening, you know what I mean? Because we are, or something slightly irreverent. It's like, is it appropriate for me to do an Hispanic accent? As far as I know, I have no Hispanic blood in me whatsoever.
You're married in.
That's true. That's true. My wife is of Puerto Rican descent on her father's side. So I did kind of marry in a little bit. Yeah. But I am primarily Scottish. I'm 35% Scottish according to Ancestry DNA. And 8% Norwegian. I don't know what a Norwegian accent is like. Do you know?
Some character from Frozen, from Pixar, I guess.
Oh, they're Pixar. Disney Animation Studios. Get your Disney straight. Pixar is a separate entity, sort of.
I thought Disney Pixar did Frozen. They didn't?
Pixar was not involved.
Oh, they weren't?
No. John Lasseter might have an executive producer credit because he's the head of Disney Animation Studios. Like when they sold Pixar to Disney or however that worked out, I think part of the deal was that John Lasseter became the head of their entire animation studio. So like you'll see his name on all the Disney animation, like Tangled, Frozen 1 and 2, Bolt, stuff like that. Brave was Pixar. So like, but you have some properties that are Pixar and some that are Disney Animation Studios.
I guess I just assumed that everything 3D and CGI was Pixar. My bad.
You got to keep up with it, William. You got to keep up with it. All right, so we're here to talk about Star Wars Visions. There is a Scottish man in Star Wars, but actually maybe two. It was Alec Guinness. Was he Scottish? I don't remember. I know Ewan McGregor is. But of course he has to speak in a British accent when he's playing Obi-Wan.
Ewan McGregor, Space Jesus.
Wouldn't that be cool though if he had used his regular accent to play Obi-Wan? I guess that wouldn't have fit with Alec Guinness's portrayal, but
no,
he's just like, hello there.
Hello.
Hello there. Would you like some haggis? Let's fight.
Well, I guess they could just explain it. He changed his voice when he went into hiding.
That's right. He hung out with a Scottish roommate and it brought back the accent from the old country. Anyway, Star Wars. So, the Star Wars Visions is what we're here to talk about. And primarily, this is Anime Week, and we're talking about both seasons, and we're going to emphasize 2 episodes specifically, one from season 1. Will, that's going to be kind of your...
Yes.
Your... I don't know what the right word... bailiwick is coming to mind, but that's not...
Bailiwick.
That doesn't quite work. Anyway, Will has chosen an episode from the first season, Toby or TOB1. And I have chosen an episode from the second season, Sith. So we're gonna kind of hone in on those 2 episodes, but we are going to talk about the series more generally. And we have visited this once before in Irreverent Nerds history. I did a sci-fi focus segment on it last year after seeing season 1, but that's only like maybe 8-10 minutes long.
Oh, okay.
So we've never done a full episode, and this series is pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah.
So I believe it deserves a full episode. So here we are, Anime Week, to talk about Star Wars Visions.
Now, when it came to me to suggest to you that we use Star Wars Visions, did you already make that conclusion separately from me? Because it seemed like you did.
Yeah, I was already thinking about it as an option because I'd started watching season 2 because it came out on May the 4th. I guess May the 4th be with you. Which we didn't do anything special for that day, and we should have. We missed that boat.
Missed it.
But here we are, a few days later, doing Star Wars. We should have done a Mandalorian bonus episode. I think that's what we should have done.
Ooh.
We still can.
We still can.
Season 3 was awesome, by the way. If you haven't seen it yet, stream it now. Stream it now.
So, sadly, my Disney Plus subscription just ran out, and I didn't get to finish season 3. I don't know how many episodes season 3 is, but I've seen a number of the episodes at least.
I think it's 10. I believe it
10?
stopped. I think it's 10. Yeah. I believe they all stop at 10. Yeah, man. I tell you, man, go monthly. Get one more month.
Cool.
$7.99. Or do a month of the
that.
Disney bundle or whatever, and finish it. Finish it. No. Sorry, Mortal Kombat reference.
Finish him.
Finish him. So, Star Wars Visions, what the heck is it? If you don't know much about it, if you just scrolled past it when you saw it on Disney Plus, and you're like, let me tell you a little bit about it. So, Star Wars Visions is an animated anthology series created for the American streaming service, of course, Disney Plus, produced by Lucasfilm, because it's Star Wars, duh. The series consists of original animated short films set in or inspired by the Star Wars universe, with each episode being a self-contained narrative produced by a non-American studio. Now, in the first season, they went to Japanese studios only.
Right.
In the first season, they have since expanded to other countries and studios from other countries, with the exception of America, obviously, in the second season. But yeah, the first season was like straight up Japanese anime / animation studios. I mean, what's the difference between anime and animation? It's just, nomenclature, right?
Big word, big word. I'm going to say yes because I don't know what you just said.
Well, I know popularly anime refers to primarily hand-drawn animated films and shorts and things like that, TV shows that come out of Japan. I'm sure some of them are animated on the computer, but probably still hand-drawn in many cases with, Wacom tablets or whatever the equivalent is in the... you would know better than I would in the animation industry.
Oh, right.
Like, how would they do cell animation? Like, you can do hand-drawn in the computer with CGI elements, but if there's a mixture of the two, like, I don't know if you keep up to date with current tech and what that's like.
Well, it is embarrassing to say, since I went to animation college, that I cannot tell you with any degree of accuracy how things are animated today, but if I were to take a stab in the dark, I'd say that it really depends on the studio. We'll get to it later, but I was researching the studio that did the episode I'll be talking about, and they do a mixture of traditional and digital. And I assume that to be the case with other animation studios, that they do their own thing. As far as I know, or at least what I was taught in college, if that is to be an indication of any kind, I would say that Westerners probably will draw on a Cintiq Wacom tablet into Toon Boom or some similar program.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure there's many tricks of the trade, and obviously there is often, at least in many of the anime films that I've seen, going back to even Ghost in the Shell, there's a mixture. I think that was one of the oldest ones that I have seen to date. But there's a mixture even in that one from '95 of CGI and hand-drawn animation, and now I think the not remake, they sort of like, I don't even know what the right word is. Remastered, remade Ghost in the Shell. They called it Ghost in the Shell 2.0. It was basically the same story, but then they put a lot more CGI in it for some reason.
Oh.
I was like, that was unnecessary.
Why? George Lucas did.
It's like, why? Why did you need to do that? The first film was gorgeous. Didn't need to be changed. But maybe they just wanted to play around with the tech. AKA,
I don't know.
Or, no, not AKA, but like similar to George Lucas. Like filmmakers like George Lucas or like James Cameron, I feel like they're as interested in advancing the technology and experimenting with different techniques as they are with continuing a story. Will forgot to turn his notifications off.
Yeah, let me do that now.
I think I forgot to do mine too. That's what we get. We need one of those little videos like you see in the theater. Like this is annoying. This is obnoxious. This is illegal. Please silence your devices. Oh yeah, the popcorn sounds. It's the same one I've seen for over a decade. It's been the same.
Yeah.
At least in the theaters I go to around here, like the same little blip.
I think they've been showing that for at least 20 years now.
I know it. It's like it ends with like Eminem in a hoodie or something, like trying to pirate a movie with his smartphone.
And that weird noise, that weird popping, clicking. I don't even know how to describe it. How they made that noise.
Yeah, it's supposed to be popcorn, I guess, / Coca-Cola bubbles or something.
Yeah. I was thinking bubbles, but bubbles don't make that noise. I don't know, but it gives me that image in my head, though.
Maybe bubbles. They do it at a microscopic level. Not microscopic. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. All right, back to Star Wars Visions. All right, so the premise behind Star Wars Visions, with it being a collection of these animated short films, that it's presented through the lens of the world's best anime creators. That was the first volume. And now, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Will, your viewing of the first season is more fresh. So, like, what are your initial reactions to Volume 1?
Well, I really liked it. And we were saying this earlier. I thought this whole series was anime. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know season 2 dropped. I just saw it, and I was like, let's finally watch that. But I really loved season 1. I chose the episode Toby, or TOB1, to talk about this time around. But really, there are a lot of strong episodes here, episodes that are much stronger than that one. The first episode reminds me of the old Kurosawa films, like Yojimbo, or what is it, The Hidden Castle? I forget.
Oh, you mean Howl's Moving Castle?
No. I'm
No.
talking about a
Oh, sorry.
Kurosawa film.
I checked out there for a second and came back at the wrong time. No.
That's okay.
So those were live action films, right, in black and white from
Yes.
50s, 60s? Is that time range?
I don't remember, but that's probably correct.
I know that the Magnificent Seven that
Yeah,
was
that would
made
be
here
one
in
of them.
America was based off of the Seven Samurai, right? So it had to
Yeah,
have been
that's what
prior
I was
to that.
thinking. The Seven Samurai, not the Magnificent Seven. Sorry. Yeah, the Seven Samurai. I think that was one of the Kurosawa films as well.
I believe so.
But yeah, just a lot of strong episodes. Some of them are complete reimaginings of the Star Wars mythos. Some of them actually appear to fall into continuity somewhere. I really, really enjoyed a lot of these episodes. I enjoyed the Ninth Jedi. I enjoyed the Elder. Those are two of my highlights from season 1. What did you think?
Yeah, I think actually I'd agree with you. Both of those were very strong episodes. I also enjoyed the duel, and I did also enjoy TOB1. It was very different. Like, it was kind of the art style was just very different. So it was like I don't know, a break in the pattern, I guess you will.
Yeah.
But no, I did enjoy that one as well. But yeah, I think narratively, I think the two, like the Elder, the Ninth Jedi, and then probably the duel, are probably the three strongest from the first season. Now, I love how it does, like you said, like tie in with the samurai feeling, which obviously George Lucas, was inspired by in many ways.
Oh,
In
definitely.
his creation of the Jedi.
And especially with the duel, the black and white episode, I think it's come full circle since George Lucas was inspired by the Kurosawa films somewhat when he made Star Wars. So with the episode, I forget what the episode number is, but Toby, TOB1, what struck me immediately from this episode was that it reminded me of Astro Boy. It was not created by any studio that worked on Astro Boy, but I think the animators were probably inspired by Osamu Tezuka's work, or at least it seems to appear that way to me. It also reminds me a little bit of the old Mega Man animation. When I say animation, I mean art style, with Dr. Light and whatnot, which is very fitting both are very fitting for this episode. It features a scientist who is secretly a Jedi who has built a robot boy, and this robot boy dreams of becoming a Jedi one day. This is not the strongest episode in season 1, but it's the episode I have the most to say about, I think. If I'm not mistaken, Astro Boy's original name was Toby, if I'm not mistaken, in Osamu Tezuka. I am murdering this guy's name. Anyway, in Osamu's work, Osamu. wish we could edit this out. Anyway, in his work, Toby died, and then the scientist's father creates Astro Boy in the image of his son. But in TOB1 from Star Wars Vision, it's kind of the flip. It flips that. It seems that the robot TOB1, he gets renamed Toby later on in the episode. And at this point, it seems that he can start using the Force. He can start wielding a lightsaber. And in his imagination, he becomes a real boy. So, like I said, it kind of flips that narrative. Instead of a real boy becoming a robot, it's a robot becoming a real boy. And I have questions about that. I have questions how a robot or droid can wield the Force. But, well,
You
these
are a real boy.
Ha ha ha.
It's a miracle. No.
Obviously, these anthology episodes don't have to adhere to any sort of Star Wars universe continuity.
Yeah, like it's either, it doesn't necessarily have to take place in a canonical part of the universe, but it's definitely inspired by, so I don't think any characters that, at least that I'm aware of, obviously there's a lot of Star Wars characters, and in the expanded universe there's even more, but I did not recognize names in any of the visions, which I like that, actually. I like that. Nerds, we would love to find out who is on the other side of the microphone. There are multiple options by which you can connect with us. Our Instagram handle is @irreverent_nerds. We are on Facebook and YouTube as simply The Irreverent Nerds. Makes sense, right? And of course, we are on your podcast app. If you listen on Spotify, scroll down through the episode description and you will see a question. What did you think of this episode? We welcome your feedback, including your constructive criticism. We also post episode-specific polls and questions from time to time on Spotify, so please feel free to jump in and give us your 2 cents. All right, nerds, I've talked enough. Let's get back to this week's episode. That it takes place kind of in the Star Wars universe, if you will, but it doesn't necessarily have a direct connection to existing storylines. I like that. By the way, we were talking earlier about whom you were trying to figure out who voiced TOB1.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up too.
Yeah, so it's Masako Nozawa, an almost 80-year-old Japanese woman, or no, 87-year-old Japanese woman.
Are you sure you're not reading the Japanese credits?
I don't think this doesn't have Japanese credits, I don't think.
Oh, really? It wasn't translated into Japanese?
I'm sure it was, but...
Huh. Yeah, I was just wondering if it was the same voice actor or actress that voiced Aang from Last Airbender, because I thought I recognized the voice, but I guess I'm not sure who voiced Aang.
She doesn't come up, but there is a reason you recognize her voice. She has done Son Goku for many, many, many years in Dragon Ball Z. So that's probably why you recognize her voice.
Wait. Is she...
Probably in the Japanese, I would think. Although I don't know.
I would think so. I am all sorts of confused right now. I didn't know that she could speak English if that is the case.
Apparently so. Like unless they did, I'm not aware of them. I mean, I'm sure they did a Japanese dub. I would,
I'm just gonna look this up right quick since I'm so confused.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. She does the Japanese version. So they did actually cast a young boy named Jaden Waldman.
Yeah.
Who is not play Aang. He's too young to have played Aang in the Airbender series.
Yeah. Who did you say played Aang?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, sorry for the misdirection there, but yes, you are correct that she did it the voice in the Japanese version, and has also done the voice of Son Goku. And I think Zach maybe even talked about that. Like he preferred, like when we did the Dragon Ball Z episode, preferred the English dub to the Japanese because there was a woman who did Goku's voice. I think I got you off track there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the voice actors that played Aang, and I'm confused because they have two different kids, apparently, who voiced Aang, but neither one of them are the boy from TOB1, so we'll just leave that alone. Anyway, yes, my train of thought has been derailed, but I will come back now. Doop 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 doop. Okay, so TOB1, Toby. Where did he even get that kyber crystal? It's like, use the force, and all of a sudden the kyber crystal comes out of thin air and just flies into the lightsaber. That was a weird part, but obviously they didn't have a lot of time for this episode since it was just a short one episode of the anthology.
So that was sort of a vision. So my assumption was that it was already in the lightsaber, and that's what the Jedi was. Because when he told him there was a kyber crystal somewhere on the planet, he didn't know at that point. Like TOB1 did not know at that point that his master was a Jedi, or his creator was a Jedi, or that he had a lightsaber. But my assumption was it was already in the lightsaber, and then that's more of like just a, like he envisions himself as a boy there when he's talking to basically his creator's Force ghost, and but that's not actually happening in space and time, so to speak. He comes out of the vision and he's still a robot, basically.
I did understand that as symbolic, but that's a good point. Being that the father scientist was a Jedi, it probably was already in the lightsaber. That makes sense. So, are you ready to talk about your episode, or?
Sure. Yeah, we can get to that.
I've run out of things. Oh wait, no, I haven't run out of things to say. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. What else are you gonna say?
This episode was produced by Science Saru, which translated to English is Science Monkey. The animation team that this chose this name because the science part speaks of the intelligence required to do animation, while Saru Monkey speaks of the instinct when it comes to artwork, using your instincts. And they, I looked into the other things they've done, and they did some anime and whatnot that I'm not familiar with, but they also did some things I am familiar with. I haven't taken the time to watch the exact episodes that they animated, but I thought it was interesting that they did an episode of Adventure Time, which I believe comes on the Cartoon Network, as well as an episode, a few pilot episodes, I think, or something like that, from OK Go, We Can Be Heroes, which I saw the Sonic crossover of that show. So I haven't seen a whole lot of episodes of either one of those shows, but I'm at least a little familiar with them. So I thought that was interesting. They definitely have a cartoony art style, and I read that, like I said earlier, they combine traditional hand drawings, scan them into the computer, and then redraw them digitally. If I understood correctly, you can find out more about Science Saru on their Wikipedia page.
Apparently, they've been heavily involved in an ongoing series called Summer Camp Island. I see a lot of credits for them for that, which I'm not familiar with that. I don't know if that's a...
Yeah, I'm not...
Oh, it's on Cartoon Network as well.
Oh, interesting.
Which I do not have, because I have not had cable since I was a teenager. Actually, I take that back. I did have YouTube TV briefly a couple of years ago. I was going through a football season trying to do as many free trials of, like, I think I did Fubo TV and YouTube TV. So very briefly I think I did Spectrum as well. That ran the full gamut. So yeah, so that's the closest I've gotten to cable since I was in high school.
Do you still have HBO Max?
I do not. I do
Okay.
not. Yeah, I just had it for I think a 1 month. And, yeah, currently I do not. Like, I'm trying not to spend too much money on streaming services.
Yeah.
Currently I've got Hulu, Apple TV Plus, and Paramount Plus are the only ones I'm paying for currently. I'll probably be canceling Paramount Plus soon, just because Picard's already finished. As much as I want to see some of the other series too, it's like trying to okay, are there ongoing series that are coming out with new episodes that I want to see? And it's like we'll probably let go of Apple TV Plus after Ted Lasso finishes. Actually, no, I think it did finish. Darn it. So yeah, I probably need to let that one go. Anyway, that's typically what we do. If there's, which I imagine that's what a lot of people are doing now. Is like with streaming, is like if there's a series that's coming up, which obviously the streaming service is trying to compete. They're trying to always have something interesting, to keep you or bring you back. So there's a lot of competition, which is resulting in some really cool shows. But yeah, it also is resulting in consumer overload for me. Sometimes I was like, "That's too much."
Oh yeah.
I don't have time to watch all the things that are interesting. It's like, how do you pick?
But I hear you. That's why I canceled my Disney Plus subscription, and who knows? Maybe I'll cancel Hulu next. But Paramount Plus is paid for the next year.
Yeah, well, there you go. I know where to go to watch Star Trek. Come to your house.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I think Cartoon Network was, or at least used to be, on HBO Max. They had a bunch of Cartoon Network stuff on there at one point.
I imagine Hulu probably has some too. I wouldn't think. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, Hulu is owned by Disney.
Yeah.
And I don't think Disney owns Cartoon Network.
No, but Hulu has they have a lot of things on there that are not Disney properties. They've just,
oh, okay.
Because Hulu was a streaming service long before Disney bought them. So they still have.
That's a good point.
Series from other creators. Not Disney properties only. Now, I've heard, apparently, I think by the end of this year or sometime early next year, Disney Plus and Hulu are going to combine into a single app. I don't know what it's going to be called, but...
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Makes sense. Streamline it. Just one price instead of having to get a bundle or having to get two different things. There is even some crossover currently on programming. There's some that are on both currently.
Yeah, my wife and I have been watching A Small Light about the... it's a historical drama about... Anne Frank.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's on both of the platforms.
Yeah, I think so. I've seen it advertised. I haven't watched any episodes, but I've seen the banner at least, and I think I've heard it advertised on Spotify actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, cool. Did you have any more to say about TOB1 before we move on to the next episode?
No, I believe I'm done.
Oh, cool. Well, the episode that I wanted to feature, which I have not made it all the way through Volume 2, but I've made it through the first 5 episodes, and I think the one that overall, emotionally, artistically, was the most intriguing to me was the first one, actually, Sith. The next 2 episodes were on an emotional level. I mean, all the episodes are great. It's hard to pick one, but this one was just so distinctive in its art style. It starts out as almost a, not quite black and white, but almost a black and white palette. Just very, I'm going to talk a lot about the art, but first let me give a little synopsis here. So the basic premise or plot is that a former Sith apprentice leading a peaceful but isolated life is confronted by the past when her old master tracks her down. So essentially it starts with our protagonist, being approached by her droid, and she is sleeping, and you get the distinct impression she's having nightmares. And I would imagine, I've never thought about this, but I would imagine for Force sensitive people, when their dreams would probably be a heck of a lot more intense, and they'd probably be connected to the Force sometimes, and have premonitions and whatnot, or I can only imagine they would be pretty wacky.
Force dreams.
Yeah, Force Dreams.
I think she was having a PTSD episode myself, but
Oh yeah, like I'm assuming she's probably had killed some people and like as part of her like Sith training, and then they don't go into detail about why she left, and it's not really necessary. I mean, it's a short film essentially, I think 16 minutes long, so it's not really necessary to get into that detail. Just you and initially like because I just went ahead and watched it. I didn't read the synopsis, so I didn't know she was a former Sith at first. Like when I first watched it, you find that out as the episode goes along. Obviously, the synopsis gives it away if you read that first. but yeah, so I didn't know that. I was surprised. But they give little hints. They give little hints, creeping up to it as you go along. But you're not sure for a while within the episode. If you watch it, just straight up, no preview or anything, no. And so she is living on a planet that seems mostly deserted, and she's in some kind of abandoned facility that's still operational, or either that or she's brought it back to being operational enough for her to live there with a droid. There's some kind of food processor system that she has, and it seems like she spends her days like trying, like you said, trying to recover, probably suffering from some level of PTSD, but she's also trying to create art.
Yeah.
And which actually is a good way of dealing with PTSD. Like for a lot of people, that's part of the healing process.
That's a good point.
And so
interesting.
Like she is like in a way processing probably what she's been through and through artistic expression, and she's painting, and it seems like she's also using the Force in that painting, like using the Force to manipulate paints. And the way they animated it is very beautiful. Like, but the color palette and the way they express color in this episode, I really enjoyed. And yeah, I think I have a little bit more of an appreciation for art over the years. I've both been friends with you, but also my wife, is a professional artist, and so I've picked up a few things, over the years. But what's really cool is like they use the style. It reminded me, honestly, I don't know if you got this vibe from it. It reminded me of Into the Spider-Verse, just a little bit with some of the. I don't know how to explain it. Like with the droid, I think to some degree with the characters as well. It's like it's weird. It's like the characters are moving, but the coloring stands still. It's the texture of the color stands still. So it's like as they're moving, somehow the texture is I don't even know how to describe it. It's just very unique.
It's like Stan from Monkey Island in his plaid vest. Some people will understand that reference.
It's been so long since I played it. I'm rusty on that, on the Stan references.
But yeah, you're saying the texture doesn't move, but the characters
it's like,
do.
You see it in particular with the droid. Like as the droid is like pivoting at one point, it's like there's an underlying color of the droid that remains constant, but then there's like an overlaying texture, like a texture overlay that's just like fixed on that spot of the screen. But as the droid is rotating, like the texture stays in place, even though the droid is rotating. Like you normally think, like if you see a texture on that and the character is rotating, you would expect the texture to rotate as the character rotates, right? Remain on a fixed point on the character's body. But in this case, it doesn't. It just hangs there in space, and the character's body is rotating. So you have the underlying color that goes with it, but then the texture stays there, and it gives us an extra feeling of movement within within the coloring. It's really cool. And then you see little touches, which I'm pretty sure this was done on computer. I mean, that seems pretty obvious.
Oh, yes.
But they had nice little touches of texture where, like, for instance, and I'm trying to think if they ever say her name.
But yeah,
okay,
I
Lola.
found this
So Lola's the name of the main
trippy.
character, but her hair has like paintbrush strokes in it. You can see
Oh.
like it's pretty cool, and you'll see a few of those pop up in other places. But another artistic element that did you have anything you wanted to add on the coloring before I move on to the next?
No, I just found this episode very trippy. I was confused a few times. I mean, it seems that you understood it a lot better than I did.
This was the second time I'd watched it as well, but yeah, it did resonate with me. I guess I got the metaphor, which doesn't mean everybody has to necessarily, but like the where's it going? So artistically, the music was also gorgeous, like done by Dan Levy, who is normally a stand-up comedian, but for some reason is like dabbling in film composing. Or like I don't know how that works, but on Spotify there's both stand-up comedy from this guy, and then he has the soundtrack for this episode. Just randomly I was like, oh, okay,
So it's the same guy? It's not two different people?
Apparently, according to Spotify anyway. That's interesting, but yeah, gorgeous music on this, very atmospheric, and then yeah, it pulls you in. Like I found myself listening to it afterwards, just enjoying the music itself, and it kind of the episode itself and just the whole thing like inspired me to write, actually. So I was listening to the soundtrack while I was writing a story of my own, just
Nice.
kind of getting a little short story started myself. It's like, to me, that's like some of the best art is like when it inspires you to go out and make more art. Like that's pretty cool, I think. But kind of the heart of the story is like, as you're getting to know, you're seeing that in her art, she's trying to keep darkness out of it. She's trying to keep, black paint essentially, or darkness out of it, but it keeps popping up, and she's frustrated with that. And then kind of, this is like a metaphor for that. Her former master shows up, so he's very much a representation of the darkness, like a Sith Lord who was training her, to whom she had made commitments, to be his apprentice. And he comes, and she has to first fight he has a couple of robot henchmen that she has to fight. She defeats both of them with the help of her droid. And then he comes in and fights, incapacitates her droid, and it's just her and him inside the facility there. And, they have a pretty intense battle. And the turning point in the battle, at one point he force pushes her back into a wall. And he's like taking his time. Like, he's not rushing. He's not overly aggressive. Like, he's very calculating in his movements. And he also doesn't necessarily want to kill her. Like, he's hoping to win her back to the dark side, so he's not there to kill her necessarily unless he has to.
Well, as a Sith master, I think he had an agenda.
Yeah, like he's hoping to bring her back. I imagine his thinking was like, he's hoping to bring her back, and if he can't, he's going to kill her, because she could be a threat at some point, because she's had training and stuff. And in the interim, since leaving, she was able to construct her own lightsaber. But getting back to the turning point in the fight, she, like, as she's there, you see, I don't know if this is supposed to be a metaphor or if it was like literal paint within the episode itself, but like you see these little paint circles floating in front of her again, and they're black, representing the darkness. And then she has this epiphany as she's sitting there preparing for the next stage of the fight. She's like, the light and the darkness are both there, both inside of me.
That was the point of the narrative that really struck me.
Yeah, which I think it's supposed to. That's like you had the rise in conflict, and you had the climax. I guess that'd be the climax of the episode. The realization, and it's like she comes to peace with the fact that there's both light and darkness inside of her, and they're both a part of her, and I think this is the idea that is in a lot of Star Wars, the idea of balance to the Force. You know, there's a yin and a yang. There's a light and a dark. You know, even though there's a constant fight between the two, one will never eradicate the other, in a sense. Like, I
Right.
think this idea is pretty much a through line through a lot of Star Wars properties and stories.
I think this is the first character that truly embodies balance. Normally, the balance is simply the Jedi and the Sith balancing each other out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I really liked that point. Because you don't see that as, even though obviously you have your heroes like your Luke Skywalker or your or Rey or even, I mean, the Mandalorian is not force sensitive, you know, but they have to struggle with some internal darkness. But the idea is that they conquer it. So it's not necessarily the same as like accepting it per se. So yeah, I kind of liked that.
And I love her lightsaber. Did you notice that?
Yeah, like when right after, well, obviously she's already made it that way, and maybe didn't even understand why she had. But like after reaching this epiphany, she then turns on the other blade, and she has a two-bladed lightsaber, but they're two different
Right.
colors. It was yellow, and I'm trying to remember what the other color was. Did you catch it? Was it red?
I can't remember, but I thought the other side represented her light side, the yellow represented her dark side. Well, that's what I assumed anyway when I saw it.
Either way, it's like there's, in a sense, two different parts to her. The light and the dark are both there. And when she realizes that and brings the saber, you know, to this, then she charges, and she's able to kill her former master. And she makes some kind of fatal wound, but then he kind of just fades away. Like if you were to cross Obi-Wan's death with the Avengers Infinity War, you know, after Thanos snaps his fingers and everybody just like, it kind of looked like that, where he just like fades into
Right.
dust. Joker here. I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about the Irreverent Nerds. They're sitting here in my hideout, all tied up. So they can't say this themselves, but they would like you to know that there are multiple options by which you can connect with them. Their Instagram handle is @irreverent_nerds. They're on Facebook and YouTube as simply the Irreverent Nerds. So pedantic. And of course, they are on your podcast app. If you listen on Spotify, scroll down and you will see a question. What did you think of this episode? They welcome your feedback, or so they told me. They also post episode-specific polls and questions from time to time, so please feel free to jump in and give them your 2 cents while they're still alive. All right, nerds, I've talked enough. Let's get back to this week's episode. It might be their last. Not your typical Star Wars Force Ghost. I mean, Obi-Wan literally just disappears from his outfit.
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, it's like, I still think Darth Vader didn't actually kill him. I think it's like, did he commit suicide? Like, I don't know how that works exactly. He just decided to transcend into being a Force Ghost, and like, whoop, he's gone. I don't know. Maybe that was just they didn't have the special effects to do it properly, so you just saw, you know, a cut and then clothes falling to the ground.
I didn't see George Lucas go back with his crayons on that scene, so it must be to his liking.
True. Yeah, when he went back into the remasters, they added CGI stuff.
But this isn't too important, but you remember one of the big things about the Sith is that the masters want the apprentices to kill them.
Yeah, that's like the thing. It's like how you rise, you ascend, you kill your master. So yeah.
I guess, like you said, the master was hoping to win her back to the dark side if she killed him, but suppose it didn't work.
Yeah, at the end he's like, "You have done well, my apprentice. You are now the Sith master." She's like, I am no Sith. I will chart my own path.
Which is, I think, is very interesting since in official Star Wars media, it's like the Jedi can kill everybody except for the Sith. Because if you kill a Sith, then you're a Sith. Like,
oops. Sorry,
the
Obi-Wan. Well, I guess he didn't kill Anakin, so technically.
Well, the Emperor was like...
Chopped his legs off, though.
Oh, true. Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm just... Maybe it's a point of Star Wars that doesn't make sense. The Emperor was trying to get Luke Skywalker to kill him. Feel the hate. Let the hate flow through you.
Yeah, or at least to let the dark side take over.
Yeah.
Like, to give in to his desire to kill him.
And then in the sequel trilogy, the same Emperor was trying to get Rey to kill him, but she just deflects some lightning back at him.
Yeah. It's like,
so he kills himself.
Kill me. Kill me. So that I have clones in waiting anyway.
That's a solid point right there.
I guess he was supposed to be the last and greatest clone. Ugly as sin.
Right. I always thought that Plagueis the Great taught Palpatine how to send his soul into whoever killed him, like the Sith that killed him, so that he possesses the apprentice. And I always thought that...
Why didn't Plagueis do that with him?
Well, I think he did. I always thought that Emperor Palpatine actually was Plagueis the Great, or Wise, or whatever she's called. But that's getting into Star Wars theory, and the sequel trilogies
have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? You won't hear it from a Jedi.
I mean, I assumed, based on theories I've read, that was how he survived his death in Episode 6.
Here's a question. Did Mace Windu really die when he fell out the window?
It seems unlikely.
Because, yeah, unless he was killed by the Force lightning, the dude was powerful enough he could have stopped his own fall, I would think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, arm, even though his hands were both gone, it's like, hey, just get robot hands like Anakin and Luke, why not? I think I have heard some rumors that Mace might come back. That would be pretty
too.
That would be pretty cool. Like if Samuel L. Jackson pops back up as Mace, but then it's like, well, where has he been all these years? Was he hiding on a planet like Yoda? Like, cowardly you are, scared of the Emperor. You must be.
I too am.
I was practicing that laugh earlier for no particular reason. Just came up. Good old Frank Oz. You hear a little bit of Miss Piggy in there when he laughs like that, like a little bit of Grover too, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did Grover's voice as well, Frank Oz, and Fozzie. I think also. I think he did Fozzie.
Wow.
Yeah, Fozzie, Miss Piggy, Grover. Trying to remember who else, and some other voices today. Too. I mean, you got to multitask when you're in Jim Henson Studios. But yeah, good old Frank Oz.
Nice.
Hello. Yeah, just watch Sesame Street again sometime and remember that Grover is voiced by the same guy who did Yoda. It's like,
nice.
Hello, kids. Welcome to Sesame Street.
I can hear it now.
Yes.
You're doing a very good impression.
I'm not sure who did the Cookie Monster. I don't think the Cookie Monster was Frank Oz.
Cookie.
Nom, 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 nom. Me want cookies.
Wait, did the Cookie Monster was the Cookie Monster voiced by the same person who voiced Animal on the drums?
Could be. I know they had a lot of crossover between Sesame Street and the Muppet Show, Muppet movies and stuff. I think a lot of the same players, if you will, puppeteers. I mean, how many excellent puppeteers are there out there? You know what I mean? Like, who can also do voice acting while they're puppeteering? You know what I mean? So they used that cast a lot.
True.
I'm not sure if the guy who does Elmo has done any others. But yeah.
Elmo is sad. Okay, that was Butcher. Never mind. Strike that from the record.
Which, by the way, you meet his parents on newer Sesame Street. My kids have watched some of the newer episodes, and you get to meet Elmo's parents finally. And yeah. So anyway, you guys got that for free.
Dad probably looks just like Elmo, except in a suit and a tie.
No, actually,
mustache.
they look more like oh darn, cannot think of the character's name. He's been in Sesame Street since the 80s at least. He's a purple character. He's always anxious. He's got kind of like a cone head going on. I cannot think of his name right now. But Elmo's parents look more like him.
Was Elmo adopted?
Elmo adopted?
You do that.
I can't do a very good Elmo voice. And that's probably a good thing.
Better
My wife would be very creeped out by that.
Let's do it.
Oh, nice. I just noticed that. So getting back to the Star Wars episode, the woman who voiced Lola, her name is Ursula. Ursula Cobero. Or, excuse me, Cobero. Ursula Cobero. Cobero.
I'm going to refrain from a Little Mermaid joke simply because I cannot do any voices.
Such unfortunate souls. Creepiest song montage ever in a Disney movie. I still do not. I will probably not until they're like at least middle school. I probably won't let my kids watch that. It's a creepy movie. Or that part of it anyway. It's like you must give me your voice. And if you don't come back in time, I'll take your soul. I'm sure that doesn't sound like Ursula, but
well, just don't let them watch Watership Down then.
Stay off of the Animal Farm.
I rented Watership Down for free from the kids' Blockbuster aisle. Yeah, in Blockbuster, the kids aisle.
This
that was a mistake.
Like Pet Cemetery Light.
There's nothing light about Watership Down.
So is it like Pet Cemetery level of disturbing? When it
we
comes
should
to
do an episode on it.
On Watership Down.
It's very disturbing. Yeah,
I've never seen it. Yeah, have you seen Pet Cemetery, the original?
I have not. Is there lots of blood and gore and suffocation?
No. Like it's an '80s movie. Stephen King.
Do the animals' eyes pop out and bulge?
I'm trying to remember what the most. If there were some gruesome parts that probably were somewhere in there, but yeah, it wasn't. Now, if I had watched it as a kid, that'd probably be a different story. But I didn't find it all that creepy. I've seen some other Stephen King stuff that's definitely higher up on that level now. Now, I will say, It, and I'm thinking of the made-for-TV version that came out in the 90s, which is actually really good. If you've never seen it, you should check it out.
I probably should.
But it was a made-for-TV miniseries that came out in the 90s. And, yeah, like I have not seen the newer It or the sequel. So I don't know how they compare. But the original, with Tim Curry playing It. Yeah,
well, I have to watch it now.
It's pretty creepy. Like he's very creepy as It.
I had no idea that Tim Curry played It.
Yeah. It's creepy. It'll give you nightmares.
But yes, Watership Down is
haunt me in my nightmares.
Watership Down will make you cuss.
The animals cuss?
No, it'll make you cuss.
Oh, it'll make you cuss.
As an adult, you're probably gonna watch it and just cuss, but like,
just like animal body horror or something. Like
you saw this as a child. No wonder you have PTSD.
PPSD, not PTSD. It's PPSD.
PPSD.
Post peed my pants stress disorder. No, yep. Syndrome disorder. A post-traumatic stress syndrome. So post peed my pants stress syndrome.
We should totally
disorder,
do a bonus episode on Watership Down if we can find it.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah,
I just want to see your reaction. You're like, holy blankety blank.
Bleep bleep bleep. What the
That
bleep?
is not a children's cartoon. It is not. Should never have been in the children's section at Blockbuster.
Yeah, somebody just like, oh, it's a cartoon. Those are for kids, right? It's
I'd
like,
rather.
have you seen The Simpsons? That's not for kids.
I'd rather watch The Simpsons.
Treehouse
for
of
several
Horror,
reasons.
or what's the ongoing? It's like a Tom and Jerry parody.
Watership Down is an R-rated cartoon.
Ooh, really?
Yeah,
Is R-rated or should be?
should be. It's
How old is it? Because I know.
It's like from the 80s, I think.
Yeah, because like that's probably before they had a PG-13 rating. Because the PG-13 rating didn't come out until I think the late 80s.
I'm just saying it's very mature. It should be anyway.
Oh, excuse me. So, Star Wars Visions.
Definitely not rated R.
No. It's I mean, a little more violent than Y7. You know, well, it depends on the episode. Like the one you watched, it has violence, but there's no blood or guts or anything. So it's I think for most kids, like maybe 7, 8, and above, it's probably okay. Some of the other episodes maybe not quite as much, but
Oh, right. I was just joking because we were talking about Watership Down. But anyway, yes, and very lacking of rabbits, except for that one episode in season 1. Ocho and Lob Ocho. I like that episode too.
Yeah, and there's some other really good episodes on season 2 as well, which I have not finished the season. I will definitely finish it, and trust me. I think they have one more episode to release. But yeah, like I really enjoyed Screecher's Reach, and In the Stars is hard to watch. It's like it's very, very emotional. You and we watched I Am Your Mother right before starting this, which is done by Aardman Studios from the UK, which I think they've gone full CGI, but it's still they managed to make it look like claymation.
Yeah. Well, they had that fire sometime in the past decade or so that wiped out all their sets and claymation, so I can understand why they would have gone to CGI.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah, the whole studio burnt down, I think.
Well, they must have rebuilt, because I know they have done some straight up claymation, like when they did with Early Man. Like I'm pretty sure that was
cool.
Back to claymation, I think. Definitely looked like it. If not, then they've gotten really good at imitating it with CGI. I know their first attempt at that was Flushed Away, that movie they did.
Was that CGI?
Yeah, that was CGI. And but yeah, like you go further back though to like stuff like Chicken Run and obviously Wallace and Gromit and all that. But you can actually see the fingerprints on the clay in a lot of the early Wallace and Gromit.
I haven't checked out any of their more recent work, but otherwise I've been a very big Aardman Studios fan.
Yeah, they do an excellent job. Yeah, and they love cheese.
Wensleydale.
Not even Wensleydale.
I can't
Gromit.
do voices to save my life.
Get off me cheese. Yeah. Not even Wensleydale.
Wensleydale liked that so much that I think they contacted them and said, "Would you like to be a
sponsor?" Yeah, why not?
Sponsors.
Why not? Yeah, yeah. I'd never heard of that cheese before, so yeah, why not? Not even Wensleydale. No, I think my favorite of the early episodes were when they go to the moon and it's like made of cheese, and it's an homage as well to the very first like motion picture, like full-length motion picture, wasn't it? Journey to the Moon, I think it's called.
Oh, interesting.
So I think it was a bit of an homage to that, which it goes their own direction, but like a little bit of an homage to that.
I didn't realize that. Yes, we studied that old film. We watched it when I was in animation college. That's the one where the scientists get in the giant bullet, right? Get shot up to the moon.
It kind of looks like that. It's supposed to be a rocket, but yeah, it kind of looks like a giant bullet. And then it lands on the face of the moon, like gives them a black eye or whatever. I was like,
I can't remember. Were there moon knights in that, or am I thinking of something else?
Moon Knights?
Like moon people.
I don't know. I've never seen the whole thing. Like I've only seen clips over the years. That's something I need to rectify. Yeah, classic films. That's something like we have not. We do a lot more like nerdy pop culture type films, so we haven't dabbled as much into like what you might call the classics. Um, like I do like more hardcore, like, like a film student made this right out of college kind of movies. Like there's quite a few of those I enjoy.
Cool.
Which there are some sci-fi ones that we could do. Like there's Midnight Special by Jeff Nichols, who not incidentally, but like graduated from UNCSA,
Cool.
right up the street. Excellent film school, actually. But yeah, that's a really good sci-fi film, and it's a very small story while also being a big story, if that makes any sense. Like, and the sci-fi element is just a very slow burn, but there's a big payoff at the end, and it's a really good film. And I think that's the only thing he's done so far that would be considered sci-fi. Adam Driver's in the film as well, actually.
Oh, neat.
He does a good turn there. One of his early films, actually. And
that's the guy who played Kylo Ren, right?
yes. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about his Kylo Ren performance, but maybe he does too. I don't know. I don't know how he feels. But yeah, he's definitely memorable, for sure. His face is just by itself is memorable. He has a very distinctive face, and even his voice, in a lot of ways is. And he's tall as well, so it's like you don't miss him, which I'm sure but he's an excellent actor. Like I've seen him in quite a few independent films. I think one of my favorite, like he's really good at comedy, which you wouldn't necessarily expect if the first thing you saw him in was like Star Wars or Kylo Ren. But he got his start, I think, on a show called Girls, I think, which is a comedy show. And I've not seen any of the episodes of that, but he's also been in Logan Lucky, which is hilarious. It's like Ocean's 11, but with North Carolina rednecks.
Oh, that sounds hilarious.
It's great. And Daniel Craig plays a North Carolina redneck who is good with homemade explosives. Like he can make his own explosives. It's great. You should check it out. Logan Lucky. Yeah, I'll give you a little quote from it that Adam Driver says, like, "Did you just say cauliflower to me? Did you just say?" Yeah, you'll have to watch it to find out what that means. Oh man, it's great. His performance is great in that. And but another one that he's in that I really enjoy is called What If, which also has Daniel Radcliffe and Zoe Kazan in it. All three excellent actors, and it's hilarious.
And not to be confused with Marvel's What If.
No. But it is called What If, and it came out before Marvel's What If. So, but yeah, it's really, really fun, like romantic comedy. My wife and I both enjoy it. It's very rewatchable. There's a lot of zingers and one-liners in there. Like like he has one where he's like, his girlfriend has just left, and he's there in the kitchen with Daniel Radcliffe's character, and he's making nachos in the oven, and he's pulling it out, so he's still got the oven mitt on his hand. It's like this floury oven mitt, and he's pulling out nachos out of the oven, and he sits down. He's just like slams the pan down. He's just like, "I just had sex, and I'm about to eat nachos. It's the greatest day of my life."
Sounds like it.
The way he does it obviously is more hilarious. But yeah, very funny movie. So Adam Driver, good at comedy. Yeah, which again, if the first thing you saw him in was Star Wars, you wouldn't necessarily expect. But if you've seen the Saturday Night Live skit where he plays undercover boss Kylo Ren, then you would know, that he's good at comedy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a funny skit. Which obviously he plays Kylo Ren, so he's like surly and like, but it's a good skit. Well, nerds, we've gone over our hour here, so Star Wars Visions. Check it out. It's beautifully animated and acted, and the music in many of the episodes is great, and the stories are wonderful, and each one is its own self-contained short film, basically. That's an homage to the Star Wars universe, and I love it. I love it. I love the various takes, and I think several of the art styles. Speaking like Sith, like I was thinking as we were watching, I was like, I would love to see an entire Star Wars movie in this art style. That would be great. So maybe someday. But to date, though, I don't know that they've not done an animated Star Wars movie yet. They've done obviously a lot of TV content. You know,
an animated Star Wars movie.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, they did that.
Did they?
Yeah, the Clone Wars.
That doesn't really count though, because it was just the first 2 episodes, wasn't it?
It was in theaters.
It was, but it wasn't really a movie. Per se.
Okay.
Because you and I went to see that, and we were disappointed because we were like, it's the next Star Wars, and then it was just the pilot basically for the Clone Wars. It was still good,
yeah,
obviously. But I think it was just like the first 2 episodes, you know, which was narratively tied together, but wasn't really a movie. But I guess that'd be the closest. Right. I guess that'd be the closest thing at this point.
I guess I didn't realize. I knew that was served as a pilot, but I didn't realize it was just the first 2 episodes put together.
Well, yeah, if you go back and watch the first 2, it's like, oh, that's what we saw in theaters. Huh. I think I'm pretty sure because I've never seen it re-released in that format. You know, the way they released it in the theater. Like, but yeah, the advertising, like, it made it almost seem like it was a movie. I thought it was a movie. I didn't realize it was like the beginning of a TV series. And then that was like let down. I mean. Now, what I should have done in retrospect back then was start watching the series. You know, now I was like, I don't have time to catch up with it. It's like 7 seasons.
Yeah, but
I don't know if I have the patience. Maybe someday.
Yeah. Do you ever just feel like, man, I wish older people had warned me about this before I got old too?
Yeah, sometimes. Like, which part though?
Well, I'm kind of over it, but I used to be like, I really wish people had just told me that I can't finish college after I get married and start working a full-time job because I have a mortgage now and I can't do that. Or at least not very easily. You know.
Oh, you wish they told you, like, you know, life's going to be hard, love. You know, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's going to be hard. It's going to suck sometimes, you know, and sometimes you're going to want to punch a hole in the wall. Sometimes you will punch a hole in the wall. And, you know, you just... You gotta have plaster ready. You gotta have some repair kits, you know, waiting in the closet for when you have those really rough days. And maybe what might be better, you know, is buy a punching bag.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I destroyed my keyboard once. That was an expensive mistake.
Oops. Threw it across the room or something?
Wham!
Oh, yeah. Nice.
You people at home can't see me right now.
Well, we Americans, you know, especially those of us who descended from white European ancestry, we have so much repressed emotion. It's ridiculous. We're getting a little better, I feel like, as a people group at expressing those emotions and not holding them in all the time. But yeah, it's we have that history of like gotta keep it in. Keep a lid on it, Buttercup. Suck it up, Buttercup. Anyway. We're kind of going all over the map here.
Well, I hope that everyone at home has had just as much fun listening to this as we have rambling it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So check it out and then let us know what you think of the series itself. If you have a favorite episode, let us know. I'll try to put it in there as a poll. So yeah, just let us know which one's your favorite. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. And so next week is going to be our Movie of the Month episode. And so we've got a few candidates in mind. One of the candidates, I'll just give you a little glimpse, is the most recent Demon Slayer film, or one of the most recent, I think. It's I believe this is now available for streaming on Hulu. So that's one of the options out there, but we haven't nailed it down yet. So stay tuned. We'll be announcing that kind of with our normal schedule, usually around Sunday or Monday of the week of the release. We'll let you know, like, hey, this is what's coming up. So yeah, just keep an ear out, our movie of the month episode. And we are going to be releasing for subscribers only a couple of episodes. The first one is going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy review that we recorded the day after seeing the film. So that's going to be for subscribers only. And we're going to have another one coming down the pipeline before the month's over as well. So subscribers, you'll see it pop up on your feed. I think it shows up on the feed in some other podcasting apps as well, but then it indicates that it's subscriber only. So you might still see it pop up, and then you'll get some FOMO, and hopefully you'll become a subscriber. So you don't want to miss out on these two guys in their dulcet tones, waxing philosophical and irreverent. Yeah, you don't want to miss out on that, do you? No. We just have. We have so much fun.
Dulcet tones.
Dulcet tones. So, Gandalf, you want to send us off?
Oh, I'm Gandalf? Okay.
Do you think you can do Gandalf? I'm Saruman.
Thou shalt not pass. I am terrible with voices.
Run, you fools. Run.
Call me when you want me to do Mario. I can do Mario.
It's a me.
It's a me, Mario. Oh, no. Let's go.
He is pretty good at that. Yep.
So, we will see y'all next time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening as always. And until then, live long and prosper.
Sayonara.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Irreverent Nerds podcast. If you would, consider following us on Instagram. We are there at irreverent_nerds. You can also hit us up on Facebook. Just look us up there at The Irreverent Nerds. That's our fan page. We have a YouTube channel as well. Once again, The Irreverent Nerds. Nice and simple, right? And if you go to www.irreverentnerds.com, that will send you to our Podcasters for Spotify, formerly Anchor.fm profile, where you can send us a voice message if you want to, you can support us financially, or listen to the podcast. It will also direct you to other places you can listen, like Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, you name it. So, like, comment, subscribe, follow, all those good things. Wherever you find us, wherever you listen to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, nerds, live long and prosper. Avengers assemble! I'm Batman.